Welcome to Legend Series, everyone. I'm Squid CS, and we're live from Hamburg for the pre-show here today. Let's look at today's schedule. We've obviously got Pride versus Hamasse. That is the featured game for tonight. We were going to have a previous game as well, but we're not going to be showing you that one anymore. That has already ended, so we're starting our show a little bit late and going into this. If we have a look at what's already happened over the week, obviously this is the third and final day of our match day here, starting with Pride versus Hamasse. Obviously Pride being one of those teams who got their first two games disqualified by not showing up. Hamasse on a hot streak after winning their first and only best of two so far. Going to the leaderboard, you can see that means that Pride, they're in 7th place. They're stuck down there with only 1,504 legend points, whereas the Hamasse, they're a little bit higher, 1,512 in 5th place, and obviously doing well this Legend Series after a very dominating victory in their opening match. That was against Playing Ducks, the German squad, one of those teams that we're giving a bit of an opportunity so far in this tournament. So, we're talking about Legend points, we're talking about Legend Series. Here is what it all means.
CSGO Legend Series is back and revamped with a brand new system never before seen in competitive esports. ELC Gaming is unveiling a brand new unique point system which takes a wide range of win conditions into account. From rank of opponent played, strength on T and CT side, and variety of maps played will all influence points accumulated. Teams earn cash every time they play, with rewards given, win or lose. All matches will be broadcast twice per week, live from the ELC Hamburg studios, home of Big Betting. An all-exclusive, all-inclusive $25,000 prize pool Legends Cup awaits, where the two European champions will face off against a team from the US and a team from China. Join us March 6th for our first episode. This is where legends are born. Welcome to Legend Series. Go to elcgaming.com for more information.
Thank you very much. But first, we've got a best of two for you tonight. It's Pride versus Hamasse. Obviously, this best of two set to be one of the highlights, with Hamasse being such a popular team. To take us through all of the action, I'm joined by Yakut Kiane.
How are you guys doing? It's good
I'm
to be
doing
back
good.
again.
As the only person with a voice, I'm above the audience. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, it should be fun today. Yesterday we had a couple of good matches, or the second one a bit less exciting than the first. But of course, Pride coming off that hot win, it's going to be good for their confidence. As you said, had a bit of a slow start this Legend Series, but I mean, they're a proven team. They're still their roster's still like up in the air, isn't it? That's kind of a question mark at the moment.
So Pride over the last couple of weeks have obviously lost a couple of players to Kingwin, those being because of that VP Kingwin shuffle, with a couple of players being tossed out, and Pride had to pick up the pieces. Obviously, they still have a couple of their stars, don't they? Maybe starting with Luz. He is maybe one of the more vocal players from Pride.
Definitely, and as you said, with that slow start, having that win yesterday against Kopsaka is definitely going to help them, because in those sorts of lineups, obviously they are outskilling the opponent quite a lot, and you expect them to win it, but you need those sorts of matches, when you're not doing too well. It helps your confidence, gets that team cohesion going as well. and with a roster that's kind of up in the air at the moment, it's definitely something they need. So yeah, you definitely can't count them out just yet.
Yeah, and it obviously affected their standings on the leaderboard as well. If we get that up, Pride were stuck down at 12th place, and you can see on your screens that they have been elevated all the way to 7th so far. They are above that 1,500 legend point threshold. Hamasse is still higher than that, obviously, starting on 1,500 legend points, and then getting to the getting 12 for that opening bout. Obviously, Pride gaining a bunch of places from that very, very convincing best of two, pretty much replenishing what 2 losses granted them by a pair of 16 threes, and they were on Mirage, Cache, some of their best maps. Obviously, Kopsaka, you can see pretty much replacing them right at the bottom there in 11th, out of 12th place, 1,489 legend points, so barely anything to talk of there. But now it's Pride's real chance to break into that top 6. I think the winner of this match is pretty much guaranteed a top 6 placing if you win with a 2-0.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a good chance for Pride to make up for lost time. But Hamasse, not a team that we should be overlooking. Of course, I don't think these teams have actually played each other as of recently, at least not with these rosters. Am I right on that?
Yeah, these guys haven't played each other at all. Certainly not in Legend Series and not elsewhere either. I think Pride are normally on an upper echelon of Counter-Strike, whereas Hamasse don't always get their opportunities. Legend Series being one of the few tournaments who give chances to the smaller teams who don't always get on HLTV.
Yeah, but they have had their fair chance against the higher teams. These odd matches here and there, and they're not completely out of contention when they go against those teams. They've had some close matches. I believe against Epsilon, one of the matches I seem to remember, which was a close match in the last Legend series. So definitely a capable team. I think Pride will have the edge, but then again, at this level of Counter-Strike, you can never be too sure, and it's going to come down to those vetoes.
Yeah, remember, Legend Series is all about breaking into that top 4. Everybody in the top 4 will be going to our Legend Series offline final later on this year after we've played out the 12 weeks of play where everybody plays everybody at some point, and it will be the 4 teams with the highest Legend points will be making it, of which 2 will go to our $25,000 Legends Cup, so not too shabby. And obviously, Pride and Hamasse, both teams who really want to make that. And Hamasse haven't had the chance so far. So they've been invited to every single Legend Series so far. And they've pretty much always been in second place to get to LAN.
Yeah, and of course, like that sort of LAN is somewhere that, Hamasse would want to actually prove themselves. And it's a great opportunity to really put yourself on the map. So they've definitely got their eyes on that top 4 spot. And it's going to start with a match like this. This is a good test for them. When you playing in a tournament like this where you've been put in with these upper echelon teams, it's these sorts of matches that you need to really win and actually get that ball rolling. So if they can pick this one up, they'll be well on their way to that top four spot, and then maybe make their way to the LAN finals, which would be a great chance for this team.
Yeah, and of course, Pride are our reigning Legends Cup champions, taking the trophy in America. So who better to really take a big win off of tonight? Obviously, they're not the same Pride as we saw in the US after having their roster chopped and changed, but certainly still opposition.
Definitely, but as you said, you can't count Pride out, but when you've got a roster this up in the air, like these are the matches where you're at risk when you've got a team that's, obviously Kopsaka quite a new team and just a different sort of tier of Counter-Strike altogether. So you can't really use that as a metric to measure their performance with this roster. But I think this is going to be a good indication to what Pride we're seeing at this point and what Pride we're going to be seeing in the rest of this tournament as well. Today, are they going to perform? Are they going to actually hold their ground and take out this team who's meant to be lower in terms of the tier of Counter-Strike, or are we going to see them struggling? So I'm actually really interested to see how this match plays out.
Yeah, I think Hamasse, you can really criticize them on many, many faults. Maybe their map pool isn't too deep and a couple of other factors as well. But sticking together as a team is not one of those. This team has been together for quite some time and maybe held together by the glue, which is Q Rush, that Russian streamer, the guy who seemingly has all of the popularity. Everybody's tuning in to see him live on the main stage. Is there anything that you can really say about this guy, Yakut?
I don't know much about him, to be honest, outside of this team itself. I'm not too sure about his streaming success, but I mean, that's the thing. When you've got a lot of pressure on you as well, and you are like an established player, that can play into it as well, like the pressure at these sort of big moments. You know, in for this team specifically, this is kind of a big moment for them, you know, going against this sort of notable team. So, yeah, I'm going to have to keep an eye on him, see if he can actually live up to the hype. Oh, is he going to crumble under pressure? We'll have to see.
I know you're not supposed to have favourites, but Hamasse are definitely one of my favourites. They really do bring it seems like they bring the heart, they bring the passion, they bring the, maybe not the prestige, but they bring the laughs with them. Obviously, we had a post-series interview with Q Rush, and he was really he really memed it. He put his cap on. He was sat back. He was drinking it. He had alcohol on the table. It was he was really something else. And that's really kind of what I love. I love the personalities that Legend Series often brings, and that's kind of what we're trying to weed out of a lot of these players as well. We're saying, hey, we want an interview with you. We want to talk to you. We want to put you on a big pedestal and really have a chat and let the viewers know exactly who you are. And obviously, he is one of those players. Yeah.
Looking at some of the previous vetoes for this team, it seems like both of these teams are willing to play Mirage. I think Hamasse actually like that map, and they have kind of similar vetoes. You see like Overpass, Inferno, and Nuke be vetoed by both these teams. So that's another interesting little tidbit that might actually come into play. If they both like playing on these maps, then we should be able to get a proper sort of full level of play from both these teams. It's not going to be the question of, oh, this is weak for that, this map is weak for them, this map is weak for these guys. So yeah, it looks like we're probably going to be seeing Mirage then in the vetoes. When are we getting those through?
We'll be getting those through any moment now. No message back from the admin team just yet. I think we've got about 10 minutes before this game's supposed to go live, so we should be getting into that one soon. But definitely really interesting to talk about the map pool. Pride have a 75% win rate on Train, and that includes an exceptionally large T-sided win rate, which you don't often see on Train. Normally it's more of those CT-sided lockdowns, and if they've got those T executes to fall back on, then that could be really interesting for them today. But I'm not too sure. With their roster kind of up in the air and playing with a couple of players that they don't have too much experience playing against, I'm not sure if they're going to have those T executes on lockdown. Obviously they've got two pieces taken out of the puzzle.
Indeed, and it's so hard to like play with stand-ins on new players and try and fit them into roles that previous players are playing. A lot of times you see these roles get shifted around, and that sometimes messes up the whole team dynamic. A good example of that at the top level was SK when they got Phelps. They really they had to really play around him because they couldn't really slot him into where FNX was playing. And you could see their performances with Phelps were just nowhere near the caliber of performance that we were used to seeing out of them. Of course, different level of Counter-Strike, different story, but I think it applies at this level as well. Especially when you've got two players removed, putting two new players in there and telling them to play how you want them to play can often not work out. And if you play around them, that again, messes up the team dynamic. So, yeah, on T side of Train, you really need a full, cohesive sort of 5 cogs in a machine sort of dynamic. And if they don't have that, they could really struggle if Train does make it through.
And talking of SK, your co-commentator for today, Yakut Kiani, a.k.a. Fur, sorry. Look at him. Look at that picture on the screen. Down there. He looks just like Fur, doesn't he? What do you think about that? Maybe you should take a picture together. I see you've got the picture of Kenny, yes?
Yeah, I should. Next time because I'm thinking about going to the London Major, so maybe I get a chance to meet Fur and take a picture, see how close we actually are looking in person.
Maybe the world implodes. I don't know, or maybe he won't be on the roster at all by then. Of course, we're talking about a lot of SK shuffles right now. What do you think of that?
Yeah. I mean, right now, I don't think they should shuffle because the roster definitely does work with bolts, but I don't know. I think they're just slumping in terms of, just that. I don't know if it's their confidence or just the other teams sort of working out how they play. But I don't think they're planning on an actual roster change. I feel like they've done quite a few. That fifth player has rotated quite a bit, and Bolt seems to work in the team, but I don't know. I think it's just the whole team that's kind of off at the moment.
Yeah.
But you can never count them out. I think they'll just bounce back randomly at some point, like in a month or so. You'll just see them dominate again, which will be fun to see. SK are a beautiful team to watch. I love watching SK.
Yeah, we used to say that sort of thing about Fnatic, though, and I feel like maybe Fnatic split up. Their initial split was a bit premature. It was after they won their second to last tournament, and then at Cluj-Napoca, they didn't show up, and then instant split. And that just shows how volatile some teams can be. As soon as a loss comes through, personalities clash, people argue, and the whole team starts to shut down. That was the case with Fnatic. I think that's a bit of the case with SK Gaming as well, but I remember Cold Zero saying that maybe their issue isn't in game, it's personal. That a lot of them have had a couple of personal problems recently that no news has really touched into or delved into all too much. It's something that I don't see or hear people talking about or writing about a lot either. But it's sometimes sad. Sometimes personal circumstances can really dig in when you're playing the game, because CS is such a mental game. You've got to be constantly with your head in the game, and let's say that something's going on outside. Maybe you get this with casting as well. If you have something going on outside, you're just not on peak. You're not where you should be at.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of these sorts of like roster changes that seem to just completely just throw up everything up in the air. I mean, it's not been that long since SK have been struggling, and with Fnatic, talking about premature, that was really early. I think it was like a couple. I think the last loss was like the E-League loss to VP, I think. And I think that was just like their second loss, and they were like, oh yeah, this is not working. And just kind of completely flipped everything on its head. I think if Fnatic would have stuck together like with the Dennis lineup, then I don't know. I think it might have worked. Like, I feel like they could have worked through it, and you never know. Fnatic could have won a few more championships, but it's all in hindsight. It's different when we're looking back at it.
Yeah, hindsight's very 2020. We've just got the vetoes in right now, and it seems like Pride have picked Cash, then Hamasse have gone right back to Mirage. So we see them play a lot of Mirage. What is your instant takeaway from that veto?
I think that kind of works out for Pride because they're very comfortable with Mirage. They don't. It's not often they're like sort of the one they pick. But they're definitely willing to play, and it's often left over as that sort of decider map. And for Hamasse, I think it kind of works out as well because their worst maps are ones that Pride don't like either. So, but I'm not 100% sure how they're on Cash. What do you say about Cash for them?
I would say for Cash, we don't know what this new lineup looks like. So for Pride, they played Cash obviously against both of these teams have played both Mirage and Cash. This is the only series that both of these teams have played. Hamasse played it against Playing Ducks, easy 2-0, 16-8, 16-10. Pride have played Mirage Cash against Kopsaka, obviously 2-16-3s. You were there for that one, and both of these teams have looked fairly solid on both the maps, but now they're both up against higher level opposition. I would say that both of these teams respectively are better than Kopsaka, better than Playing Ducks, so it's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think this one's quite up in the air. I think we're going to learn a lot from this game on the current sort of state and mentality of these teams. We're going to know if Pride are actually having some problems, because it's hard to take it away from that previous match, because as you said, Kopsaka, they just weren't really at the right level to compete with Pride. And Hamasse really haven't had the same level of competition as Pride yet as well. So this one, I think we're going to learn a lot. Whoever comes away from this game looking really strong, I think we're going to have to keep an eye out on, and then we'll learn actually if Pride are having issues with this roster or if it's not affected them that much. So I think this match is going to be very, very interesting.
So it's interesting, but can you give us a prediction? Can you put money on the table?
I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to put it right down the middle. I'm going to say Hamasse are going to edge out their own map. Yes. And Pride, I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to go. It could be either way, but I'm going to say two close maps, 1-1.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking maybe a 2-0 for Pride. I think that their map comes up first, and Hamasse are a very mental team in terms of not crazy, but the fact that the mental game really does play a big part in their Counter-Strike. So I think with Cash being the first map, Pride should be able to take that, even with their roster problems. And then going on to Mirage, I think that Hamasse, they'll be pretty annoyed, pretty tilted by that point, and we'll see a 2-0 for Pride tonight. So we've got a bit of a difference of opinion on the desk. We're going to go to a very short break, but don't go anywhere, because in just under 5 minutes we'll be right at you with the first and only match of the day. Hi, we're ELC Gaming, and we're looking forward to one of the greatest events we've ever had. The Ireland E-Stars will feature a tour with our esports truck, Big Betty, all the way through Ireland. We will start right here from our headquarters in Germany, where Big Betty will take 2 ferries to get to Ireland. The first from Rotterdam to Hull, then from Holyhead, which will take Betty directly to Dublin. From there, she will travel to 9 different locations in 9 weeks, where we'll visit the best football clubs in Ireland. But to do what exactly? To host one of the biggest League of Legends tournaments ever to be held in Ireland. Each of the 9 teams will be represented by 5 League of Legends players, and a 10th team will represent E-Star's head sponsor, 3. After 9 weeks of tough battle, the grand final will then find its winner live from the 3 Arena in Dublin. Check out our Facebook events or visit estars.pro for further information. This is 3 Ireland's E-Stars.
CSGO Legends Series is back and revamped with a brand new system never before seen in competitive esports. ELC Gaming is unveiling a brand new unique point system which takes a wide range of win conditions into account. From rank of opponent played, strength on T and CT side, and variety of maps played will all influence points accumulated. Teams earn cash every time they play, with rewards given, win or lose. All matches will be broadcast twice per week, live from the ELC Hamburg studios, home of Big Betty. An all-exclusive, all-inclusive $25,000 prize pool Legends Cup awaits, where the 2 European champions will face off against a team from the US and a team from China. This is where legends are born. Welcome to Legend Series. go to elcgaming.com.
Hello and welcome back to Legend Series, everybody. I'm Squid CS. I'm joined by Yakut Kiani for today's edition of Legend Series. We're about to go live onto the first map, which is Cash between Team Pride and Hamasse. And obviously, great game in store.
Definitely, it should be a fun one. Cash, of course, Pride's pick, definitely comfortable on this map, but I don't think Hamasse are going to be slouches on it. They definitely are willing to play this map as well. And of course, we've talked about Pride's roster issues as well. Definitely a chance for Pride or Hamasse to actually show their prowess. So should be a fun one.
Yeah, well, the players are just loading into the server right now. We've got 7 out of 10 people in. So should we go on warm-up hunt? Should we go on skin hunt? See what skins everybody's got for this warm-up? Q Rush has a bayonet fade. He's got a Glock fade as well. It's pretty cool.
Nice. I think I just saw a Karambit Law, yeah.
Where's the Karambit Law? Let's look for that one. Let's go in game.
It's on carry. How do you say his name?
On carry. On.
Chat's gonna butcher me for not saying these names correctly.
Yeah, the Russian chat as well. The brutal Russian chat. The suka bliet chat, of course.
What you mean is on carry? Why you stupid American?
What are you talking about? Okay, it's okay. That's my best Russian accent today. That's the best
I think we should
getting.
stop because, especially with the current tension between our countries, I feel like we should be.
You might start a war accidentally. You might get done for genocide.
Genocide. That's a bit much.
Well, you never know. You never know. With the way Russia's going, Vlad's in for another 4 years.